How you doing? This is Josh. Back again to do another video journal. I know it's been a little bit of time since I've done one of these. Just to give you a little understanding of who my mom was. She loved us so much, she really did. There was also an aspect, and I don't want people to misconstrue this because there will be people that are gonna watch this video that do know my mom, and so they're probably gonna be pretty mind blown by some of the stuff, and that's fine. But my mom was very loving, very loving woman. She had your back, and there's a lot of things through my life where I've seen that, seen some pretty insane responses from her in my defense. There was another aspect of my mom which really, she didn't like weakness. She didn't like it, and I commend her for that. She made me the person that I am today. But she didn't like excuses. She didn't like weakness, and she really brought us up to be some pretty strong-minded individuals. She never wanted to lie to us, and from the earliest age, I was about 4.5, 5 years old, whatever. It was the first year where we did this Christmas thing, and I remember hearing about this guy named Santa Claus, and Santa Claus came down the chimney, and he was gonna give us presents and all that. And I remember I'm freaked out. I'm like, what? I'm like, there's a freaking Santa Claus, and he's coming to our house, and he's gonna bring. And my mom saw that this completely threw me. I was my mind wasn't leaving this. And I all the way to the point where I was outside laying in a snowbank staring at the stars into the late hours of the night. And within 48 hours after my mother seeing that how it was affecting me, she told me, there is no Santa. I'm sorry, I lied to you. I didn't want to. I just wanted you to have this, this happy, that this is what other parents are telling their kids, I was in kindergarten, and I'm going to kindergarten telling everyone, dude, Santa Claus is fake, and kids are crying. We were at a a Christmas thing, whatever, and I'm telling kids Santa Claus is fake, and I'm telling them all the reasons why, and there's literally kids weeping because Santa Claus wasn't real. So I had teachers, I had grown-ups coming to me and saying, listen, you cannot tell kids that there's no Santa Claus unless you want to sit in this room alone while we do all these Christmas festivities and eat candy and treats, and you're gonna be alone. And I was like, no, I don't want that. And they're like, all right, well, shut your mouth. And so, 5, 6 years old, kindergarten, I learned from an early age, shut my mouth, let the others go with whatever. I know that sounds stupid, but I'm just prefacing it to tell you that when I was about 7 or so, my mom, me being super inquisitive, my mom told us that, decided to sit us down, really lay out for us why we do not celebrate Halloween. I remember this night exactly as though it just happened yesterday. It was Halloween night. There was kids out trick-or-treating. I was supposed to go out with a friend of mine, and I was all upset because I wasn't able to go, and my mom said, okay, let me sit you down, let me tell you. She began to tell me years prior, had gotten involved with, so it was a Transcendental Meditation group that she got involved with. She began going to meetings and this and that. Now interwoven within this Transcendental Meditation group was another inner core group. Now, more Kabbalistic, more ancient in its origin. The TCSM, more I think of a modern sort of thing. There, she was sort of individually recruited by another internal group within this group. group. So that kind of began this road for her, which lasted for quite some time. This is where I'll just start telling you the things that she revealed to me. They were speaking to spirits. Now that's for sure. They were involved with a lot of different rituals. She said that they went on all throughout the year. Each one, basically, like each one had a purpose, and everything was. She said she was learning about a lot of different things all at once. So with this TCM group, this inner core group, she said that she was invited to different sort of training things. It was more like, the way it was she was young. She explained it as these people were very wealthy. They were very powerful. She explained it that they were within this group there were lawyers. There's actually, she said specifically the chief of police and different very very powerful people within the community within this group. So she felt very privileged. Initially, she told me about the warm welcoming, this sense of like, you're part of something bigger now. And anyway, she said that you got to understand, she was talking to a young child, so she's relating this back to me as a child, and she's saying, you have to understand that the devil comes with all the best things, all the things that you want, all the things that you think are important, all the things that are shiny and sparkle in the light. She really told me how she was kind of caught up in this. So within this group, you guys have to understand, man, I'm talking to my mom, so there's some things that I don't really, that I'm not gonna say, man. I don't want to. It doesn't matter. The information's out there. Other people are talking about this. I love my mom. She did her best with what she went through, and like, there was no one there really for her that understood this. Like, when she told me this as a young child, there was no one there for most of my life that I could even bounce this off from. Her skill set was that she could travel astrally. Most people are like, at this point, probably suffering from cognitive dissonance. Good, whatever. See ya. She was able to literally project herself from her physical body. She told me, like, literally it would take her no more than 10 or 15 minutes. And I guess she recites some sort of a trance, or excuse me, some sort of a I don't know, like a mantra or something. She would meditate, and she would leave her body. Now, she also said that, during her time with this group, she said that she would do this chant, or she would do this meditation thing, and she would leave her body, but like when she left her body, oftentimes she could do whatever she wanted. She was free to do whatever she wanted. She could go, she said literally, like, I could look at you sleeping in your bed, or I could go to the neighbor's house and see them sleeping or whatever they're doing. Like, she said she really had this free reign, but there were times where she said they called it the master. So there was a master. Other times when she popped out of her body, she would be greeted or met by something that she knew of as the master. And the master sometimes would take her to different places. The places that she explained where she said that they're not on the planet Earth, right? They're like in different realities. It sounds nuts. this is my mom. She's not lying to me, man. So she felt, I guess, in the initial parts of all this, she felt very privileged. She felt very honored. It was a very almost a prestigious thing. They made her feel very, you know, they gave her things. She had all sorts of different perks. So she said it was very seductive. It was very inviting for her, especially at the time in her life when all this, you know, all this happened. She said that she was kind of, at first, kind of enticed into different things and was kind of talked into it, but after being involved with it, she really had some problems with some things that were happening. And so some of these things I would get into her, and it was stonewall. That she would not answer, and actually she would get really mad if I questioned too much. So I learned at a very young age that some things you just don't ask, you don't talk about. Some of this information was gleaned over the years, but I will say this, that after this night on Halloween, when I was like 7, this was like a pulse of disclosure from her that's never been the same throughout. And from the years afterward, it's always been little minuscule, like little things, like many times where they would summon entities, and she said she remembers the entities. They would show up. They would be intermingled, like with you know, with the people there. She always, I just remember her always commenting on the eyes, almond-like eyes, piercing. I remember the way that she described the eyes. And I remember that it was very emotional. Anytime she talked about seeing these things, and they were present. I guess it seems in a lot of the activities that they were involved with. So so as I look into this, you know, my mom's ability to astral project, her ability to do all these things, she says that it was almost in the hands of this master. Like, she wasn't necessarily free. She was sort of free in a way, but then when she had to go somewhere, she had to go somewhere. Like, or when she was tasked with something, she had to do this. Now, she began to get a little obscure, and I could tell she was getting pretty emotional about some things, and she really didn't want to answer. I had a lot of questions when I was a kid. Basically, what she told me was, like, do not contact these things in any way. Like, seances, Ouija boards, like, these are all ways to get in touch with these things. Maybe just kids effing around with a Hasbro Ouija board toy. It's pretty freaking weird anyway. But the fact remains is that you never know what you're contacting, and also there are a lot of these things that far surpass human intelligence and just human faculties as a whole. So you're really playing with a packet of fireworks that, you know, you don't know shit about when you're just diving into these little spiritual shenanigans. So basically, she told me that one night she was meditating. She was taken to a it wasn't on the earth, it was on another plane, whatever. She said it was every blade of grass was black. She said it was all black. She was in a field, like a rolling hill field, where every blade of grass was black and kind of wafting in the wind. And she was in the middle of this field. And she said she remembers walking through the field, even like running her hands through the grass as she's walking, each blade, just individually, everything black. Well, she came upon a large, like, wall with a large, like a drawbridge door type thing, and with huge knockers. And she said she walked up to the door, and she knocked on the door, and she remembers a sliding across. And once again, she said the eyes. She remembers the eyes that peered at her like through this door, and she knew that once she walked through that door, everything was going to be different. And but that she was willing, that she was like going to walk through this door. She knew that walking through the door meant a commitment. Like it was like, once you go through here, there's no coming back. She knew it, and she was willing to do it. As she was going to walk through the door, she said that bars blocked her from entering into this door. She said that she immediately woke up from her trance. She was at the kitchen table, and she was sitting there kind of like flustered. My biological father ran into the kitchen, ran over to her and just started hugging her, and was just hugging her. And this is years after my parents were divorced, right? My mom's telling me this story. Tells her that he's in the other part of the house watching a football game. All of a sudden he sees my mom about to open some door, and like she's about to be attacked, like in imminent destructive danger. He said that the wave of immediate terror overwhelmed him to the point where he couldn't do anything about it except will bars to stop her. The only thing he was trying to do was stop her from going through this door, hence the bars. All of a sudden he woke up, ran to the kitchen, saw my mom. Now, my mom told me this when I was a child. My parents were divorced. My mom lived in Vermont. My dad lived in New Hampshire. I didn't see my dad a lot. I actually waited until the following summer. She told me about this in Halloween. I waited till summer till I went to see my dad, and I asked him about the story, and he confirmed it. And I remember even as a child, that was pretty mind-blowing to me. That was, she began to disconnect a little bit. She wouldn't answer a lot of the details, but these details came out later in life. So what I'm gonna tell you is basically, I'm just gonna run through it, and listen, like, this is my mom, like, this is my mom. At the age of, I was actually older. I was in my young 30s, 33, 34. I was actually in the middle of a diving career. Is when I found out that I always used to believe that my older sister and my older brother and myself were all from the same father. Like, I actually found out that my mom, that all of us were from different fathers. My older sister, my older brother, myself, and my younger brother. But there was also 3 other children. There were 2 prior to my older sister. My mom told me they were stillborn. Then the 3rd, her name was Wendy. Wendy lived for about, now, this is where things get there's a little disparity in there. My mother says that Wendy lived for a few months, and whenever Wendy's name was brought up, my mother would, I know my mom, deep grief. It was deep grief. Whatever took over her was a deep, deep grief. Wendy lived for 3 months and then supposedly died. My biological father signed the birth certificate and the death certificate the same day. He was told that she died the same day and literally lived for only hours. My mother told me that she lived for months, a few months. So I haven't really known what to say. Like, my mom talks about, when they were beginning to put her into really, really bad positions to where she just wanted to leave. And she said at that point, like, she was pretty deep into it, but people were dying, you know, like her friends were dying. One of her friends, she said that she had grown pretty close to, she said she was very beautiful. She was very, like, a very social woman. Everyone loved her. She had a beautiful penthouse, kind of like beautiful building downtown. And you know, during all this, you know, her friend was found dead. Her throat was cut ear to ear. She was in her own bed, you know, but her penthouse was locked from the inside. So that was the end of that. Another friend ended up dying in a car accident that was under some real kind of shady circumstances. And there were some other things. There was some actual, like, pretty brutal type of haunting poltergeist scenario type things that were going on in her home. So my mom began to really become deathly afraid of these people, their agenda, what they were asking of her, what she had already given them, and her only recourse was to flee. She did, and I do know that after doing a little bit of research into this, there are CIA documents that have been released that contain, you know, files that talk about the disassociation from the human consciousness from the human body. They talk about the different ways this is achieved. One of those ways, it even mentions Transcendental Meditation. These things were kind of like you grew up with this, and you're instinctively, like, different. You're different. You know you're different. And it's kind of a secluded reality. But you know, honestly, like I said, the more that you know, the further we get into this, the more that I see other people speaking out. You know, I have just more of a love and appreciation for these people, because honestly, like, you know, there are people out there that are exposing way more than I am capable of right now, and I commend them, because this shit isn't easy. So my mom really broadened my horizons to you know, this spiritual aspect. It really encompasses a lot of key players within your community. These are communities everywhere. You know, that lady that's on the corner that's so interested in, you know, the affairs of all these different highlighted topics of the day, and they're making brownies and baked goods, and they're having sales, and they're all uppity involved in everything. Well, take a look at some of these people. Take a look at some of these people that have all these agendas in the community, and ask yourself a question like, what's really going on? That's all I'm saying. Like, this is everywhere around you. These people, this agenda. And so, like, cultivate a relationship with the higher force, the force of love, force of creation, force of beauty, force of light. Realize that there is an enemy out there that's trying to sway you from those things, and trying to also come as a being of light and illumination and all these things. I think there are a lot of wolves out there that are actually, I think there are a lot of people out there that are maybe involved in some really, really heinous shit, but they're not bad. They're not bad people. They're not. They're blackmailed. A lot of people are really good people, and you're being blackmailed, and you're being fucking forced to do some shit that you don't want to do because you got caught on video, or because you got caught somewhere, whatever. You got some kind of plea, and you're going along with it, and you're sick and tired of it. And I understand. I get it. Everything isn't what you think it is. We need to look deeper into the eyes of the people around us. We need to look deeper into the things that we take for granted. We need to move our muscles, we need to move our minds, we need to move the things that have been latent and just have been dormant. Our free time taken up by stimulus of all manner, drugs, fucking social media, news, whatever. We need to like start going within, man, for real. Like, I sound like a fucking hippie and I'm not a hippie. I love my mom. She did everything she could for me to get me ready for, you know, this life. And yeah, like a lot of the shit she did was, she was pretty ruthless. She never lied to me. I do want to say, I appreciate everyone that's searching and looking and listening and finds these type of things that we're talking about valuable, because there's a lot of people that are really hurting. There's a lot of people that are really lost, and there's a lot of people that are in a very, very terrible place in life because of experiences and things that they've had that all come back to this evil. So, once again, thanks for tuning in. I'll see you next time.